everyone. In this session of CCNA series, I will discuss Dynamic ARP Inspection. As you know, Dynamic ARP Inspection, also known as DAI or DAI, is a security feature that validates address resolution protocol or ARP packets in a network. It is used to protect the network from certain man-in-the-middle attack such as ARP spoofing. So before we go ahead and discuss more about DAI and how DAI stops ARP spoofing attacks, let's have a quick overview on what ARP is. ARP is a protocol used to map an IP address within a IP address to a MAC address within a local area network. Within a local network. So when a device wants to communicate with another device on the same local network, it uses ARP to find out the MAC addresses associated with IP address of the target device. So for example, here the host PC needs to send an IP packet to its default gateway R1. Now PC1 sends an ARP request to learn the MAC address of router 10.1.1 address. In the beginning, PC knows the IP address, but it doesn't know the MAC address. So to learn the MAC address, it forwards an ARP request. Now, once our router receives the request, it replies with the router's MAC address. And at the same time, in this process, R2 also learns PC's IP and MAC address because of the ARP request. And similarly, the PC also learns the MAC address of the router from the ARP reply. So in future, if router must send any packet to this PC, he can look into the ARP table to forward the data. Now, ARP does not have any built-in mechanism to verify the authenticity of ARP request or replies. Any device can send an ARP reply claiming to have an IP address, leading to potential security issues. An attacker, like for example, can send a fake ARP message to associate their MAC address with the IP address of another device, such as the default gateway. And this can lead to various types of attacks, such as man-in-the-middle attack, where the attacker intercepts and potentially alters the communication between the two devices. And for this, attackers use gratuitous ARP to carry out such attack. This is kind of a ARP which we will discuss further. So gratuitous ARP is an ARP message that is sent by a device to announce or re-announce its own IP to MAC address mapping. Attackers use gratuitous ARP to update the ARP cache of other devices with false information. Like for example, when a new IP is configured on the device, it sends a gratuitous ARP to update the ARP cache of other devices on the network with new IP to MAC address mapping. Or I would say when host changes its MAC address, it requests other hosts to update the ARP table by sending gratuitous ARP. Now, attackers can take advantage of this gratuitous ARP by using it and diverting the traffic from R2 to PC, router to PC via attacker's PC. So attacker will send a gratuitous ARP here, and that ARP will update the ARP table of the router with its attacker's MAC address, right? So when a packet is being sent from R1 to PC, it will go to the attacker machine, and then attacker will observe it and forward it back to the PC. So as I said, attackers use gratuitous ARP to update the ARP cache of other devices with false information. So we have to be very careful with ARP. So that is why dynamic ARP inspection is there. This is where it comes into the picture. So let's look at some of the concept of DAI. Dynamic ARP inspection is security feature that protects your network from ARP spoofing attacks by ensuring that only valid ARP requests and responses are relayed. It acts as a security guard that checks every ARP messages passing through the network. So DAI works with the idea of trusted and untrusted ports with same general rules as DHCP snooping. On trusted port, usually ports connected to other switches, or you can say DHCP server or other network devices you trust. Anything other than links to end user devices should be trusted by DAI. Whereas untrusted ports are ports connected to end devices like PCs, printers, etc. So access ports are connected to end user devices are often untrusted by both DHCP snooping and DAI. So when a switch receives an ARP packet, on an untrusted port, DAI intercepts all ARP requests or responses and compares the IP address to DHCP snooping binding table or I think with another method called ARP access list. So if there is a match, it allows the ARP through, or if there is no match, the ARP packet is dropped. By doing this, actually dynamic ARP inspection helps to keep your network safe from ARP spoofing attacks and ensures that your device communicate with the right recipient securely. Let's take an example where the attacker attempts the gratuitous ARP and dynamic ARP inspection makes a comparison to the DHCP snooping binding table, not finding the match. Let's see how an attacker sends an ARP. So dynamic ARP inspection will stop it, check in the DHCP snooping table, and if there is no match, it would discard the message. Similarly, dynamic ARP inspection can also use ARP access control list or ARP ACLs in conjunction with DAI to control which ARP packets are allowed or denied on a network. It is used for ports connected to devices that use static IP addresses rather than DHCP. So you create ARP ACLs by defining the rules that specify permitted or denied IP to MAC address mapping. So when DAI intercepts an ARP packet, it checks the packet against the ARP ACL. If there is a match, it allows the router through. If there is no match, the ARP packet is dropped. So that's it for this session. I hope this was informative for you. Thank you for watching.